Good evening everyone. Myself Arnab Ganguly, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department in Gargi Memorial Institute of Technology College. Today I am going to take the class of Power Electronics, that is of Electrical third year 6th semester syllabus. In our previous classes of Power Electronics, we already have concluded about the AC voltage controllers. So now in the last classes we discussed the types of AC voltage controllers, and there we see that we can use the AC voltage controllers by two types. One is as a phase control device, another is as a integral controls or on-off controls. And also we have done the mathematics parts, that means the RMS voltage and currents calculations. Now firstly today we are doing some mathematics, some derivations of the on-off control system. So this is the recap of last class, that is we already have derived these formulas, that is the Vrms value, that is Vm by root 2 root over n by n plus m, where n is the number of cycles where the source is going to energize the load, and m is the number of cycles where the power in the load side is off. So by that we have discussed how the integral controls or the on-off controls going to helps in the industrial applications as a AC voltage controller. So our proves that Vrms equal to Vm by root 2 into root over n by n plus m, and Vm by root 2 means obviously that is the source voltage, that is Vs, into root over of n by n plus m, that is Vs into root over k. So we discussed that k equal to n by n plus m as a duty cycle, that is the conducting time percentage for a thyristor. And also the IRMS value will be Vrms divided by R, the load connected in the circuit. Here we have discussed about the resistive load. Now today we are going to assess the calculations of the power and power factor. Now what is power delivered to the load? So we know that the power delivered formula is V square divided by R. So V square means the Vrms value whole square divided by R. So what is Vrms value? Already we have find earlier class, that is Vrms equal to Vs into root k, that means Vs into root over of n by n plus m. So from this formula if we put it here, so what happens, see, that is Vs square into this root will be omitted, Vs square into n by n plus m divided by R. So n by n plus m equal to k, so that means Vs square into k divided by R. So that is the power delivered to the load. Now if we are considering about the input power, so what is input power? Obviously the input power will be the source voltage into the source current. Now what is the value of source current? Actually this source current value is nothing but the value of the I0R, that means the RMS value of current that is supplied to the load. Because from the circuit, here you can see the circuit, see this is our circuit. If this is the circuit, so the current flowing through the thyristor actually depends when the thyristor is going to be in conducting mode. So after the thyristor going to be in conducting mode, then only the current is flowing through the load, and that means the supply current is passing through this point and that is flowing through the load. So the value of the supply current actually equals to the value of the load current. So now input power equal to Vs into Is, that means Vs into I RMS that means Vs into V0R divided by R. So this I0R is nothing but the RMS value of load current. Now input VA, we know that power delivered to the load, that is actually we are considering in at a watt. So when we are considering it at a watt, that means that is VI cos phi. So input VA into power factor is cos phi, input VA into power factor equal to power delivered to the load. So what is input power factor? The input power factor will be power delivered to the load divided by input VA. So power delivered to the load, what is power delivered to the load? Already we have derived, that is VA square by R into N by N plus M. So that is equal to K VA square by R. So what will be the input power factor? So input power factor will be the power delivered to the load divided by input VA. So my input VA is Vs into Is and my power delivered to the load is V0 R, that means Vrms square divided by R. So that means Vrms square divided by R divided by the input VA, that means Vs into Is. So Vs into Is, or that is Vs into V0R by R. Actually we have derived that. So if we put this term here, what happens? The R will be in top and that is Vs into V0R. So these R will be cancelled out. So that is V0R divided by Vs. So V0R divided by Vs equal to, we know that V0R equal to what? That is V0R equal to Vs into root K. So that means Vs into root K divided by Vs, that means root K. So K equal to N by N plus M, that is root K equal to root over N by N plus M. So that is the input power factor value. Now if we are considering about the thyristor conductions, so we know that each thyristor is conduct for pi radians. Already in our earlier classes we have seen the graphs, and then we see that each thyristor conducts for pi radians during each cycle. Now we already state that as it is an integral type of cycles, integral control types arrangement, so here n number of cycles where the thyristors are in conducting state and the source is energized the load, and in m number of cycles that is not energize the load, that means that is in switching off conditions, the load is in switching off conditions. So when we are considering about the average value of thyristor current, so what is the average value of thyristor current? We know from the mathematical formula, that is 0 to 1 by periodicity 0 to pi Im sin omega t d omega t. So why that is 0 to pi? Because in each cycle we see that the thyristor is conducting for the pi radians. So 0 to pi, or that means alpha to pi, that in that particular positions the thyristors are in conducting state. So that is 0 to pi Im sin omega t d omega t. So thyristor current, the periodicity will be obviously n by 2 pi n plus m, because n by n plus m is actually the duty cycle. So n by n plus m means the actual percentage of conduction's time, and now 2 pi is the total cycles length, that means the total periodicity is n divided by 2 pi into n plus m. Actually when in our earlier class we have derived the voltage V0R, then also we have done this periodicity calculation. So that is n by 2 pi n plus m, 0 to pi Im sin omega t d omega t, 0 to pi because up to pi radians the thyristor is conducting mode. So that is equal to Im by pi. So if you are doing this integrations, what happens? See, this Im terms is a constant term, that will be here. So Im by pi n into m plus m, the sin omega t d omega t, if we do the integrations with the limit 0 to pi, then the output will be like this, Im by pi into n by n plus m. So n by n plus m equal to k, that means k into Im by pi. So this is the average current value for the thyristor, that means ITA. Now when we are considering about the RMS value, then what happens? The periodicity factors is same. Here 0 to pi limit is same, but the formula, mathematical formula of RMS value is different, that is Im square sin square omega t d omega t, and the total is under the square root. So that is the as per the mathematical forms of RMS value. So again, if you do the total integrations like the integrations we have done in details when we are considering the RMS value of voltage in the on-off control in the last class, then the thyristor current value will be Im by 2 into root k. So that is the RMS value of thyristor current. Now we already derived earlier classes the voltage RMS value, and now we get the load currents value, the source currents, the input powers, output powers, power factor, and also the currents going through the thyristors. Now depending on this value we can do the mathematical problems. Now in our next topic we are going to discuss about the single phase voltage controller with R load. So single phase voltage controller with R load. See the circuits. This is the circuits, that is the sinusoidal voltage Vs applies. Now the single phase voltage controller, if we considering this circuit, we can do the circuit in various configurations by using the triacs or using the thyristors in antiparallel modes. So here that is a basic circuit using the thyristors in antiparallel mode with the resistive load. Now this is the supply voltage applies in this part, and this T1 and T2, these two thyristor is connected here, and this is the R resistive load connected. Now we will see what happens in our waveforms. Now see, this is the common sinusoidal voltage waveform, that is the supply voltage applied here. Now based on that we know when we are considering about the thyristors, then they are obviously a story of firing angle. That means a firing angle is required, a getting current is required to make the thyristor in conducting state. So here when the supply voltage Vs is applied, then there is some time delays, the alpha firing angle is taken to do the conductions, to do the triggering of the thyristor T1. So this is the first half cycle, first positive half cycle of the supply voltage Vs, that means from 0 to pi region. So from 0 to pi region, after applying this voltage, a small delay, then the alpha at a alpha firing angle, the T1 thyristor is going to be in conducting mode, and then when it is in conducting mode, that means the current is flowing through this thyristor and obviously through the load. So now this is Ig1, that means the getting current through the thyristor T1. So what happens at alpha? See, we are doing the waveform here. This is the alpha firing angle, then this thyristor will be in triggering conditions, that means this is the Ig1. So when this Ig1, that means this getting current is applied at alpha firing angle to this thyristor T1, that means this thyristor at this instant at alpha, the thyristor is in now conducting mode, that means the voltage is applied here in the resistive load part. So as it is applied, see, if we are considering about the voltage waveform, the output voltage waveform, see what happens. Up to alpha there is no output voltage, as T1 is not in triggering conditions. At alpha this is in triggered, this is triggered, and that is converted into the conducting mode. So now we are going to get the voltage across the load V0. So this voltage obviously continues up to pi point, and obviously as it is resistive load we are considering here, what happens, the current, the source current, load currents, we already say that the source current and load currents will be in similar nature, that as it is dependent on this triggering, and so this current waveform is also similar to the voltage output waveform because it is a resistive load. So what happens, see, the current waveform will be similar. So at pi point what happens, see, the supply voltage comes to 0, the load voltage also comes to 0. Now the T1 thyristor is going to be in reverse bias condition. So as it is going to be in reverse bias conditions, then after alpha point, when that is in pi plus alpha, what happens, the T2 thyristor is going to be in conducting state. So up to pi plus alpha there is no voltage currents we get, and now at pi plus alpha point this T2 thyristor is now going to be in conducting mode. So as it is going to be in conducting mode, and now the supply voltage waveform in the negative part of its envelope, so what happens, we get the, firstly this Ig2 is going to trigger the thyristor T2 at pi plus alpha, and depending on that we get the output voltage waveform like this. And also the current is like similar. Now the cycle repeats at 2 pi point. Again what happens, at the 0 crossings this thyristor T2 is now going to be in reverse bias, and after some delays at 2 pi plus alpha the T1 thyristors again going to in conducting mode. So what happens, now we will get again Ig1. So Ig1 again going to trigger the thyristor T1, and depending on that we will get the similar voltage output waveform like this, and also the current waveform will be like the voltage waveform. Now this is continuing up to 3 pi, then again at 3 pi the T1 is going to be in reverse bias and T2 will going to be in conducting mode at 3 pi plus alpha because it requires that particular firing angle. Now so at 3 pi plus alpha what happens, again the Ig2, we get the Ig2, and depending on that the voltage waveform will be in like negative slope, and the current waveform will be also in negative slope. So now this is the waveform of source voltage getting current through thyristor 1, getting current to thyristor 2, the output voltage waveform, and the output current and source current waveform. Now there is another two parameters, that is VT1 and VT2, that means this is the thyristor voltage, the voltage across the thyristor T1 and T2. Now what happens, see, an interesting thing is that, so at 0 point, that is the 0 point of the supply voltage, at 0 point, that is from 0 to pi points, what happens, the T1 is now in forward bias conditions. So up to alpha the T1 is not in conducting mode, this thyristor voltage is grows like the supply voltage Vs, that means the thyristor voltage Vt1 up to alpha, that is the value of Vt1 equal to Vs. Now this is up to alpha. Now when at alpha this T1 thyristor is going to be in conducting mode, then what happens? The voltage drops to the region of 1 to 1 volt through the thyristor T1. So now what happens? See, this voltage drops happens and we get the flat curve like this. So that is continuing up to pi point. At pi point, the T1 thyristor is going to be in reverse bias conditions. So as it is going to be in reverse bias conditions, so again what will happen? The VT1 will be equal to Vs. So as it is equal to Vs, then from pi point it is going to follow the supply voltage waveform envelope. Now at pi plus alpha, see this is pi plus alpha, what happens? The T2 is going to be in conducting mode. So as T2 is going to be in conducting mode, that means that T1 is now reverse biased by the voltage drop across T2, that is 1 to 1.5 volt. So again this is going to be follow the flat envelope like this. So after each pi point we will get the thyristor voltage waveform that is follow like this envelope. So if we consider the